Did you know that over 70 countries have formal diplomatic ties with the UK, but only a tiny handful would actually stand fell apart tomorrow? It's easy to think that allies are everywhere, but when it really matters, loyalty is rare. Throughout history, Britain has weathered wars, economic crashes, political scandals, and not everyone stuck around. In fact, some so-called friends even turned their backs when times got tough. But a few countries, they stood firm, no hesitation, no second thoughts. In the darkest hours, these bonds became more than alliances, they became lifelines. Today we're diving into the 10 countries of the UK, no matter what. Some of these might seem obvious, but others will absolutely leave you stunned. What secret military pacts, hidden economic agreements, and generations of trust keep these friendships stronger than steel? How have shared wars, cultural ties, and even personal friendships between leaders shaped alliances that could outlast empires? And more importantly, could these hidden loyalties decide conflict, the balance of power, or even the survival of democracies worldwide? Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll know which countries are true ride-or-die allies. And trust me, it's not just who you think. Ready to find out who would really have Britain's back when the world's on fire? Let's dive right in. Number 10. Sweden. When you think of Britain's strongest allies, Sweden might not immediately jump to mind. After all, Sweden was famously neutral during the world wars, right? But so has Sweden's role on the global stage. Today, Sweden is not just a casual supporter, it's stepping up as a key partner, especially after officially joining NATO in 2024. That move alone sent a loud and clear message. Sweden is serious about standing with its democratic allies, and Britain is right at the heart of that alliance. Over the past few years, the UK military cooperation at lightning speed. They've launched joint defense initiatives, participated in Arctic military drills, and coordinated strategies to counter new age threats like cyber attacks and hybrid warfare. Both nations are fiercely committed to protecting the stability of Northern Europe, a region increasingly seen as a front line for global security. But it's not just about strategies. Britain and Sweden are joining forces in innovation too, working together on clean energy projects, artificial intelligence research, and advanced tech solutions. These collaborations aren't just academic, they're shaping the future industries that could dominate the next century. Even culturally, the ties are growing stronger. British and Swedish businesses are collaborating more than ever, educational exchanges are increasing, and there's a shared commitment to freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. What's really fascinating is how quickly this relationship. In a world where alliances often take decades to fully form, Britain and Sweden have built a powerful friendship in just a few years, and it's only getting stronger. Sweden's strategic location, cutting-edge tech, and fierce loyalty make it a silent giant among Britain's friends. And trust me, Sweden isn't just standing tall, it's standing ready. Norway. When you think about loyalty, few countries can match Norway's quiet but powerful commitment to Britain. While it often stays out of the media spotlight, Norway has been one of the UK's most reliable partners for decades, especially when it comes to military cooperation and securing Europe's northern flank. During World War II, Britain played a vital role in liberating Norway from Nazi occupation. That bond didn't end with the war, it only deepened. Today, both countries are key players in NATO, constantly working together on military exercises, intelligence sharing, and defense initiatives. If trouble were to break out in the Arctic or North Atlantic, Norway would be standing right next to Britain without a second thought. Norway's strategic location is incredibly important. Sitting right between the Arctic and mainland Europe, Norway helps the UK monitor one of the most sensitive and contested regions in the world. They collaborate on anti-submarine operations, Arctic defense strategies, and even cutting-edge missile defense technologies designed threats. But this partnership isn't just about the military. Norway and the UK are massive trading partners, particularly in energy. Norwegian gas and oil flow directly to British homes, fueling millions of lives. There's also a deep cultural respect between the two nations, shared love for democracy, freedom, and standing up for smaller nations' rights globally. In a world full of shifting alliances and unpredictable players, Norway remains that rare kind of friend, quiet, steady, and absolutely unwavering. And hey, speaking of loyalty, who do you think is Britain's strongest ally of all time? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this dive into Britain, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. Number 8. Netherlands. Now here's a country that doesn't make a lot of noise, but moves mountains when it matters. The Netherlands and the UK? They've got a connection that's like an old, trusted partnership, built over centuries of doing business, fighting battles, and navigating world chaos together. They're both trading nations and global finance hubs. And while they might joke about their love of football rivalries, when it comes to real-world issues, Britain and the Netherlands are almost always on the same side. Behind closed doors, they collaborate on some of the biggest economic and security projects in Europe. Cyber defense? Check. Joint intelligence operations? Check. Sanctions against hostile powers? Double check. And when it comes to logistics, Dutch ports like Rotterdam are basically lifelines for British imports and exports. No exaggeration, energy ties are massive too. With the North Sea sitting between them, these two countries have built an energy network that looks more like a web than a straight line. Pipelines, gas fields, and offshore wind farms. Some of the most ambitious green energy projects in Europe are joint UK-Netherlands ventures. But it goes even deeper than politics, economics, or technology. The Dutch trust the British, and the British trust the Dutch. And that's rare in international politics, where alliances are often based on cold convenience rather than real mutual respect. When Brexit rattled Europe's political foundations, many leaders whispered about cutting ties. Not the Netherlands. Instead of pushed for new trade routes, stronger bilateral treaties, and even tighter security pacts. In a world full of fair-weather friends, the Netherlands stands out. Calm, smart, ready to act, not shout. When Britain calls, they don't hesitate, they move. That's the kind of loyalty you can't buy, and it's the kind that Britain knows it can count on. Poland. If loyalty had a face, Poland would be right up there, standing shoulder to shoulder with Britain through some of the darkest moments in history. Their friendship isn't just political, it's built from blood, courage, and sacrifice. During World War II, when Poland was invaded and torn apart, it was Britain that stood up and declared war in their defense. Polish pilots fought alongside the Royal Air Force during the Battle of Britain, becoming some of the fiercest and most skilled fighters in the skies. Without their bravery, very different. And the war itself could have taken a darker turn, but the connection runs even deeper. After the war, when Poland found itself trapped behind the Iron Curtain, the UK remained one of the loudest voices calling for Polish independence and sovereignty. That loyalty wasn't forgotten. Fast forward to today, and that deep-rooted connection hasn't faded one bit. Poland and the UK are strong pillars in NATO, often leading the charge when it comes to standing firm against rising threats in Eastern Europe. Whether it's sending troops, sharing or building up defensive strategies, Poland has proven time and again that it's not just a friend when it's easy. It's a partner when it's hard. Beyond politics, there's a massive human connection too. Hundreds of thousands of Polish citizens live, work and thrive in the UK, contributing to industries, culture and community life. Walk through any British city and you'll see Polish businesses, hear Polish voices, and feel the richness of a shared life. Despite political shifts, economic changes and challenges over the years, the bond between Britain and Poland has built on respect, shared sacrifice, and an unbreakable commitment to freedom. Number 6. Japan. Some alliances are loud and flashy, and then there are the ones that quietly shift the balance of global power. And Japan's relationship with the UK is exactly that. At first glance, you might not think of Japan as Britain's ride-or-die ally. They're separated by half the planet, after all. But behind the scenes, the UK and Japan have been building one of the most sophisticated and strategic partnerships in modern history. Both countries are island nations. Both have deep naval traditions, surrounded by powerful rivals. And both know that in a world where security can shift overnight, reliable friends aren't just nice, they're essential. In the last decade, Britain and Japan have signed landmark defense agreements, shared military technology, and even conducted joint military exercises across continents. They're collaborating on next-generation fighter jets, cyber defense operations, and advanced intelligence programs. They even signed the Reciprocal Access Agreement, making it easier than ever for military forces to train and operate together on each other's soil. They're preparing for a future where sticking together could mean survival. But the relationship goes deeper than just defense. Britain and Japan are economic powerhouses, forging new trade deals, boosting investment, and coordinating strategies in tech, green energy, and AI innovation. London's financial might and Tokyo's technological leadership are now blending into a quiet but unstoppable force, reshaping industries across the globe. There's a deep mutual admiration. The British respect Japan's discipline, precision, and innovation. The Japanese admire Britain's resilience, strategic thinking, and global influence. It's a bond built not on loud declarations, but on understanding, an alliance that moves with patience and precision. In the global chessboard of alliances, Japan isn't just a piece on the board, it's Britain's strategic queen, quiet, thinking several moves ahead. Number 5. France. You can't talk about Britain's closest allies without mentioning France, no matter how many jokes they crack at each other's expense. Let's be honest, the UK and France have one of the most famous love-hate relationships in history. Centuries of wars, rivalries, and endless debates over who makes better cheese. Yet when it really matters, these two always find their way back to each other. World War I, World War II, the fight against terrorism, you name it, Britain and France have stood shoulder to shoulder when the stakes were highest. Tensions flare over fishing rights or trade deals, there's an unspoken rule. In times of real crisis, they'll back each other without hesitation. Today, their partnership is stronger and smarter than ever. Both are nuclear powers. Both are permanent members of the UN Security Council. Both have some of the most powerful militaries in the world, defending democracy, Europe's security, and shared global interests. Britain and France operate like an old, battle-tested team that knows each other's moves without needing words. They run joint military programs, share highly sensitive intelligence, and coordinate operations in Europe, Africa, and even the Indo-Pacific. The Lancaster House Treaties, signed in 2010, lock defense cooperation, making sure that even if politics get messy, the trust between their armies stays unshakable. It's not just about tanks and treaties either. Culturally, they're tangled up in each other's lives in a way few countries are. British travellers flock to Paris every year, enchanted by the art, fashion, and food. Meanwhile, French students, artists, and entrepreneurs flood into London, chasing opportunities and fueling innovation. The truth is, rivalry breeds respect, and when the chips are down, there's no hesitation. They might tease, they might compete, but at the end of the day, they fight for the same values, and they'll fight for each other. Always have, always will. Number 4. New Zealand. Some friendships just feel effortless. That's exactly how it is between Britain and New Zealand. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's just there, steady, genuine, and always ready when it matters. The roots run deep. New Zealand was once called the most loyal of Britain's children, and that loyalty. When Britain went to war in 1914 and again in 1939, New Zealand didn't hesitate. Thousands of young Kiwis sailed halfway across the world to stand beside British soldiers. Many never returned home. Their sacrifice became a symbol of how far New Zealand would go to stand with Britain when it mattered most. But it wasn't just the wars that bonded them. It's democracy, fair play, a fierce love for freedom, and a strong sense of community. Even though New Zealand has grown its own bold, independent identity, the heart of that connection with Britain never really changed. It simply evolved into something even deeper. Today, New Zealand remains one of Britain's most trusted allies. They work together within the Five Eyes intelligence network, one of the tightest and most secretive security alliances on the planet. They back each other up in international forums, on climate change goals, human rights issues, and global economic. Their militaries still train together, learning from each other's strengths, keeping that bond sharp and ready. And beyond politics and strategy, it's the people-to-people ties that make the friendship unbreakable. Kiwis feel at home in the UK, and Brits find a second home in New Zealand. Shared culture, shared humour, shared history, it all runs quietly, confidently in the background. In a complicated world full of shifting alliances and political games, Britain and New Zealand's friendship feels no games, no doubts, just loyalty, respect, and an unspoken promise to stand together, yesterday, today, and always. Number 3. Australia. If Britain ever needed a wingman, Australia would be first through the door, ready to roll. This isn't just a polite alliance. It's a bond forged in blood, grit, and a fierce sense of loyalty. The connection goes back over a century. When Britain entered World War I, Australia didn't blink. Thousands of young fight under the British flag, and the Anzac legend was born on the bloody beaches of Gallipoli. World War II, Korea, Vietnam. The story repeated itself. If Britain was there, chances were good Australia wasn't far behind. But it's not just about old battlefields. Today, Britain and Australia work together on almost everything that matters. Defence, trade, intelligence, climate policy, you name it. They're key players in the Five Eyes intelligence network, one of the most exclusive and trusted security alliances in the world. They coordinate massive naval operations in the Indo-Pacific and collaborate on cutting-edge military technologies that could shape the next generation of warfare. And when it comes to loyalty, there's no second guessing between them. When Britain sends the call, Australia doesn't ask why. They ask where and when. That kind of trust isn't built overnight. It's built by showing up, again and again, through peace, through war, through everything in between. Beyond the politics and the strategies, it's the people-to-people bond that makes this friendship unshakable. Tens of thousands of Brits live, work and thrive in backpackers flood UK cities every year, bringing a bit of that cheeky, adventurous spirit with them. It's mateship at its finest, rough around the edges sometimes, but solid to the core. In a world full of complicated, fragile alliances, Britain and Australia's bond stands out, loud, proud, and unbreakable. It's not about convenience, it's about heart, history, and the certainty that when things get tough, they'll shoulder to shoulder. Number 2. Canada. If the United Kingdom has a big brother or little sibling in the world, it's definitely Canada. This isn't just an alliance, it's family. Different in some ways, independent in others, but bonded by deep history, shared values, and the kind of loyalty that doesn't crack under pressure. Britain and Canada were tied together by more than just treaties. They built cities, governments, and dreams side by side. Canada helped Britain shape its empire, and when the world plunged into chaos during both world wars, Canada didn't wait for an invitation. Canadian troops crossed oceans to fight alongside British forces, not because they had to, but because they chose to. The fields of Vimy Ridge and the beaches of Normandy are forever etched with the bravery they shared. That spirit of brotherhood still shines today. Canada in nearly every major international alliance. NATO, the G7, the Commonwealth, and of course, the Five Eyes intelligence network. They trust each other with their most sensitive secrets. They back each other on the world stage, whether it's fighting for human rights, tackling climate change, or standing up to aggression. But beyond, it's the cultural bond that feels so real and personal. From literature to sports to music, Canadians and Brits just get each other. There's a familiar humour, a shared sense of fairness, and an unspoken understanding that even when they disagree, the respect never fades. Walk through any Canadian city and you'll see traces of British heritage everywhere. From the architecture of old city halls to the symbols on the flags. It's not about control, it's about connection, pride, and shared memory. In a world where alliances can be bought and sold, Canada's loyalty to Britain feels genuine, enduring, and unshakable. Like family, you might argue, you might drift, but when the call comes, you answer. Number 1. United States. When it comes to alliances, there's one relationship that stands above the rest. The special relationship between Britain and the United States. And like all real friendships, it hasn't always been perfect. They've fought wars against each other, disagreed fiercely, and even competed for influence across the globe. But despite all the bumps, Britain and America have built something incredibly rare. A bond so strong, so deep, that it often feels more like family than diplomacy. They stood side by side through 2 world wars, fought together in Korea, Iraq, Afghanistan, and countless other missions across continents. America answers. And when America needs a partner, Britain shows up, ready, trusted, and unshakable. Their militaries don't just work together, they move like a single unit when it matters most. They share secrets, tech, strategy, the kind of deep trust most countries can only dream of. The legendary Five Eyes intelligence network. It owes its backbone to Britain and America's unbreakable bond. Their economic trillions of dollars flow back and forth, building companies, technology, culture, and dreams on both sides of the Atlantic. But maybe the most powerful connection isn't military or money, it's cultural. From Beatles to Hollywood, from Shakespeare to Silicon Valley, Britain and America constantly inspire, challenge, and lift each other higher. There's a shared belief in freedom, fairness, and fighting for what's right, even when it's messy and imperfect. Sure, they argue. Sure, they clash. Families do. But that's what because underneath it all, Britain and America don't just like each other. They trust each other with everything that matters. In a world full of alliances built on convenience, theirs is built on belief. Stone solid, battle-tested, future-proof. And no matter what storms come, they'll face them, together. Now it's your turn. Drop a comment and tell us, which country surprised you the most? And if you enjoyed this journey, check out our last video. We know you'll love it too. We pour heart and soul into every video, and your support means smash that subscribe button. It's just one click, but it means the world to us.